Good afternoon, intuitives. One of the videos I've had rolling around in my head for a little while, and it's something most INFJs can relate to, not only in our youth as teenagers, but also as we get older. We are no fans of high school drama, and not just like in high school and that culture, but things later in life that we deem like high school-esque and of the same nature. And, when most people were obsessed with that stuff in high school, we wanted no parts of it. And there's reasons for that. So, high school drama, like popularity and cliques and, all that crap and when you're a teenager, we never had any tolerance for it as INFJs. And a lot of that's to do with how we are always very forward thinking. We're long game type people. We're, not known for being able to live in the moment. So for us, one of the answers is obvious. Well, it's short term. Regardless of how you feel about high school, it's 4 years. It's not the rest of your life. So what's so important about it? And being forward thinking, at least this is what I thought at the time. I always intended to move away from where I grew up since I was 10, but it's like I'm gonna be moving away. I'm never gonna see these people again. I'm not a fan of this area, so why would I care about who's in with who and, who's related to who and all that and keeping up with the Joneses and all the stuff that goes with it. So I never paid much attention to it. And another reason why we, really have no tolerance to it is how superficial it is. We're people who are intuitive, so we see the hidden meanings of things, we read between the lines, we connect the pieces of the puzzle and all that. So stuff that's like superficial and very on the surface, it just doesn't interest us. If there's no substance to it, if there's no deeper meaning, if it's something that, we're supposed to care about for reasons like because that's just what you're supposed to do, or that's how it's always been. Yeah, we don't care. So, and I want to give a message to the younger INFJs who view this, just to let you know, your intuition on this is right. The stuff that you think doesn't matter, that the majority of your peers are obsessed about, no one's going to care in a couple years, unless you're in some screwed up place like Chester County where everything revolves around your high school clique. It's really sick and sad and backwards, but that's a topic for another video. So yeah, think about it, younger INFJs. When you leave to either go to college or the military or trade school, whatever you're doing after high school, is it really going to matter who was in which clique? That artificial environment that is high school, where you're in for 4 years with people roughly your same age, that's never going to be again. Like, you're going to be in the real world where you got to work and pay bills and worry about things that you have to worry about because, if you don't pay your bills and things like that, things will happen. It's really not something you can just ignore. So understand that a lot of the things that you think are true, that you have a hunch about, probably are, given your intuitive nature. So I suggest just try to keep your head down. Go and pursue things that you actually care about. Like when I was a teenager, I hung out with mainly people 5 years older than me. So just avoid, that artificial high school drama environment as much as you can. It'll be over soon. Be the last person in the school building in the morning and the first one out the door in the afternoon. That's what I did. That's basically how I tolerated it. And understand that everything that they think is so important, well, first off, it isn't important, like, prom and all that crap. But not only is it not important, but in a few years, no one's going to care. The only people that care 5 years after you graduate high school who was the captain of what sports ball team are the people that peaked in high school. The ones with Al Bundy syndrome, yeah, so to say. That are still 20 years after they graduated high school, talking about they once scored 4 touchdowns in one game and how great they were. It's like, motherfucker, then if you that great, why ain't you playing for the NFL? But that's all they have. People who, are so obsessed with that culture and their quote high school accomplishments years after they graduate, they're trying to boast, but really it's sad, because if your glory days were high school, that means you did nothing of substance, or even if you're not a person who cares about substance and purpose, you did nothing of, merit, or even something that made decent money afterwards. If years later, if you're still reverting back to what you were as a teenager, that is simply a sign that your life failed. Because who looks back on their life and goes, well, I worked a crappy job I hated and was dead ass broke, but I was popular in high school. I win. Who does that? So just more reasons why not to pay too much attention to it. And sadly, aspects of it do carry into adult life. You get, some people who never leave the town they grow up in. Their high school clique never ends, and instead of like prom and sports and all that crap, it becomes keeping up with the Joneses. And intuitives, you can really tell, either if somebody is extremely shallow or extremely miserable. If all they talk about is the possessions they have, or how much money they make, or how much money their husband or wife makes, if that's, that means they're not like enjoying life. They're not doing what they want to do, but they're trying to justify it by saying, look how much stuff I have, look how much possessions I have, look how expensive this is, look what kind of car I drive. And that's a sign of narcissism too, because narcissists deep down don't really like enjoy much of anything, but they enjoy getting adoration and people loving them. And in their mind, they think, well, the more wealthy and successful I am, automatically that makes me, amazing, and everybody loves me and everybody wants to be around me. And that's just not the truth. I mean, there's plenty of, I worked on top 100 country clubs last decade. I met plenty of rich people, and even, a handful of famous people, and 90% of them I wouldn't want anything to do with. They're, as I said, I think I've said it before, but you know what the difference between like a bunch of chronically unemployed people hanging out drinking and a bunch of rich country club people drinking are? You know what the difference between those two groups are? The country club people drink better booze. That's about it. The conversations are about the same. It's still their little clique, and, they're telling tall tales and talking about things they did decades ago. The only difference is the country club people are drinking better booze, and most of them, they can't even say that, they earn the right to like be wealthy and privileged. Most of those motherfuckers are born with silver spoons in their hand because granddaddy did something, of merit and started a business after the war in the 50s. So always pursue what gives you purpose, and do not ever be afraid to move. Do not ever be afraid to leave the town you grew up in. And I'll even go one further, and I'll probably catch some shit for this. As INFJs, we're picky when it comes to love and romance. If you truly think you found somebody and you have to choose between that person or moving, move. Because you can always move back. You may not find somebody else. We're not the kind of people who can walk into a bar and be like, I date her, I date her, I date her. We most of us anyway, we're not all demisexuals, I am, but most of us need that emotional connection, and to be able to find that in someone we're also attracted to, who's also available, not so easy. That's just a little more added advice to that. Once again, I would ask all of my subscribers and viewers to please view my video about helping me raise money for charity. Come on, throw a couple bucks. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. What, do you not tip your bartender either? So, please watch that video. Follow the link. I'll throw the link in this one as well. And Thanks everybody who takes the time to watch these videos, and trust me, don't ever sell out your integrity and always trust your intuition. And give money to charity.